Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love, American made.
Listen up, Autobots and Decepticons. You are listening to Prime Cuts, a nonlinear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Nero.
I'm your other host, Audrey.
And we are back from many things, back from a brief hiatus, back to the world of Transformers Animated, back in, I don't know, I can't think of a third one.
Back to the disaster. My heart's beating faster. Never thought I'd feel it this way.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, we're starting Animated Season 2, which is where a lot of juicy stuff happens, but not the juiciest stuff. That's Season 3.
It is, like, really funny, though, because immediately in this season, like, all the stuff that they were subtly hinting at last season, they just, like, fully mask off.
Yeah, it's time to go. It's time for a lot of shit to start happening, and some guys to show up, and some unfortunate things to happen to Sari Sumdac.
They are putting this 8-year-old through the absolute ringer.
This is quite something. So I suppose we should just jump right in here. With we watched obviously the first 2 episodes of Transformers Animated Season 2, the Elite Guard and the Headmaster, Return of the Headmaster.
Oh God, I really, you know what you're getting into with that second one, and as soon as it turned on, I was like, I can't do another 30 minutes of this.
He's back. He's more of a gamer than ever. But that episode does at least have Sentinel Prime suffering great humiliation for like half of it, so you know, that's alright. But before we begin to that, we have to talk about the Elite Guard. So we open sometime after the events of the Season 1 finale. Everything is fucked. Just all of it.
I will say, I was actually really surprised at how little recap they did.
Yeah.
If you don't remember what happened, fuck yourself.
Yeah, they don't really give you a whole lot. They'll tell you the basics of what happened, but you're not gonna get a fucking
even the basics. They're like they don't tell you in so many words basically that Sumdac is missing. They're just like, Sari's in charge now, in case you forgot that Sumdac is missing.
And the Detroit is fucking wrecked. Well, part of it is anyway. A lot of it is. And the Autobots are helping clean up the city. However, the fact that a whole bunch of people saw them fighting against the Decepticons, which resulted in a huge amount of carnage, has sort of tanked their reputation a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little racist, but at some point, the giant robots that destroyed your city all kind of look the same, I guess.
I mean, yeah, like,
and that's fair enough.
Not everyone's gonna know to look for the faction symbols. They just see 2 big robots and they're like, well, my house used to be over there, and then a robot that turns into a fucking B-17 bomber punched it with a button on its arm, and now it's gone. So, I don't know.
So I'm on the side of not giant robots right now.
Yeah, my neighbor's house got flattened when the fucking big green guy got thrown through it by the big gray guy who turns into a helicopter. But yeah, all the Autobots are kind of bummed about it, but Ratchet's just like, yeah, suck it up, it'll happen. Fucking, we just have to keep working and prove ourselves, you know, we're still good. Meanwhile, the world's youngest interim CEO is attempting to run a company.
This, I can't believe the world that exists. This is truly Detroit of the future, in which capitalism has gotten as bad as it possibly can be. Undo
Why?
all the child labor laws, and also just, like, any child laws whatsoever.
Why is... Okay, so, yes, she's Sumdac's daughter, but a company is not ruled by the divine right of kings most of the time.
Yeah, I will say, I understand what they were going for in terms of keeping in the family. So basically, like, you know, Sari is running the company because she's like, it's my dad's company. It still says Sumdac on, like, the company name. I'm Sumdac, so, like, we're gonna, like, I'm running it. But I have to say, I don't agree with Sari.
Yeah, I mean, look, Porter C. Powell sucks. This is obvious. He fucking sucks. He's terrible. But a 9-year-old and a funny yellow robot cannot run a company. That is simply the truth of the matter.
And a 9-year-old is doing a much better job of it than that yellow robot could ever hope to, by the way.
Yeah,
Which shows you how bad the situation is.
The yellow robot is really just secretary. But yeah, I mean, there probably should have been some kind of board of directors to take over in case of Sumdac's absence, which I guess they do eventually, but they do have to vote Sari out of being CEO.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that, because they mentioned that Sumdac doesn't have a will, so did they vote her in? What happened here? What the fuck? Anyway.
I think she just, like, claimed it.
Yeah, first come, first serve.
Meanwhile, like, again, I don't think Sari is actually in the right here because she should not be running this company.
No.
But Ol PCP, which is how I'm going to be referring to him for probably the rest of this series. Ol PCP over here is being so unnecessarily mean to her. And yeah, we know he's a shithead villain. But, like, really damn, dude, she's 9.
Bullying this 9-year-old who just lost her dad, hiring back the fucking idiot gamer who wants to make military drones.
I don't even care about Masterson. Like, that's normal Lockheed Martin shit.
True.
Like, fine. Like that's normal petty. This dude is fully beefing with a 9-year-old.
It's pretty funny.
It's like you gotta be the bigger man in this situation, my guy.
Porter C. Powell will never be the bigger man in any situation, and that's a fucking promise. But everyone is interrupted by a big flash of light in the sky. There's another ship coming down, and it's the Autobot Elite Guard.
Someone called the cops.
Yeah, they arrived. Well, I guess technically the Autobots called the cops like 50 years ago, and they're like, hey, we found the Allspark. And they've just spent 50 years trying to find where the fuck they are.
Well, I mean, again, in the cosmic timeline, 50 years, not a lot of time.
Yeah, for a Transformer, that's like nothing. That's like fucking an afternoon. But it's the Autobot Elite Guard, and I quite like the design of their ship. It's also fucking huge. For 3 of them. Yeah, one imagine there should be more guys on this ship. Like, I feel like Ultra Magnus rates more than 2 dudes.
Well, he is 2 dudes.
Oh, it's so I immediately like.
Also, Jazz counts as like 3, and
that's true.
Sentinel counts as half.
He's 1.5. The half is the chin.
No, he counts as just half. He's not a full person.
Yeah. So the Elite Guard come out, and they immediately the Autobots come to greet them. The Detroit Police Department is there with their rocket launchers again. If you remember from the first episode, they just have those. It's very funny that the villain flag for Porter C. Powell's running of Sumdac system is he's going to go into military hardware, because like we see the police drones that this assembly line is pumping out. They have like lasers.
There's a difference between a surveillance police state and the army, and one is clearly more evil than the other.
Sure. I just think it's so funny. But yeah, the Elite Guard immediately put up a bubble shield around the ship to isolate themselves.
Yeah, the Elite Guard are quite racist.
They're like, ew, gross human or gross organics. And I guess to be fair, like, if most organic planets are like the spider hell that Optimus, Elita, and Sentinel went to that one time, I would probably also generally stay away.
Like, I do get in these episodes, by no means you have to give it to Sentinel, but this is like the one part where I do understand his perspective, at least.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the two alien organic life forms we've seen in this are the fucked up spiders and space barnacles.
Yeah.
Unpleasant. But yeah, they're here to figure out what the fuck happens. And immediately, Sentinel has way too much fun decontaminating the Autobots.
Yeah, so, to be clear, not the Autobots, Optimus, who he
That's
is very clearly not holding a grudge against. What are you
fine. So normal.
He is so unsubtle about it that Jazz calls him on his bullshit within like 2 minutes. He's like, what are you doing, dude?
Because Jazz is chill. Jazz is fucking normal. And Sentinel Prime is a man who loves a grudge. This is what we learn. And yeah, I mean, so the basics are, so number one, they're here for the Allspark, and number two, they're here to investigate that Decepticon activity. Point number one, Optimus tells them, well, Allspark blew up, but it's not all bad. We believe that the Allspark's energy has been dispersed. It's not entirely gone. And Sentinel just flat out says, I think you're bullshitting about the Decepticon thing. We haven't picked up any Decepticon signals on our scanners. Yeah,
Sentinel's like, in fact, I'm going to frame you for murder. And you're going to go to jail for 30 years.
Yeah, he's like, he's very clear. Like, I am here with the intention of getting you put away for treason. So, but you know, why haven't they detected any Decepticon signals? Well, good question. We cut over to a carbon-lined mine shaft where Megatron, Lugnut, and Blitzwing have holed up after the battle, which apparently hides their signals from Autobot scanners.
Yeah. Megatron's like, okay, what's the one constant in all our failed relationships? And
the Allspark.
Yeah. So, two pieces of Autobot technology. One, the Allspark. Don't have to worry about that shit anymore. It's done. 2, Space Bridge. Thoughts?
So yeah, basically his plan, Lugnut, by the way, despite literally falling to pieces, really wants to go back out and start fighting again. But Megatron's like, bad idea. We shouldn't do that. We should kind of keep things a little bit more low profile than that, my good pal. But yeah, his plan is so while he was on Optimus's ship, he managed to partially download some space bridge schematics, but I guess over the years they've kind of degraded. But luckily, Megatron has access to the foremost expert in reverse engineering Cybertronian technology.
Yeah. Hi, Isaac.
Isaac Sumdac is in a little fucking fishbowl, working hard on making the space bridge. How you doing, Isaac? You doing okay?
Bad.
Yeah, he's not doing great. I really there's this bit where Sumdac's like, look, the Autobots are gonna come looking for me. They're gonna come rescue me, and Megatron just goes like, yeah, I bet they're really excited to rescue the guy who resurrected their worst nightmare.
Yeah, he's like very specifically. He's like, I'm not going to be fooled by you again. Like, you can't make me do anything. And Megatron's like, bet.
He's like, sure, man. Have you seen this gun that is now grafted to my arm? It's the size of a bus.
Like, no one's doing shit for you, my man. Get on it.
Yeah, no, one, no one knows where you are. Two, nobody fucking likes you. So, like, figure it out.
Actually, this is important. So, to prove that he's not just, idly threatening him, Megatron destroys one of the drones.
Yeah.
And we get a little important bit of foreshadowing here, because the drone doesn't die.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of shard of the Allspark embedded in the drone, and Megatron quickly realizes, oh, it wasn't destroyed, it was dispersed, because he's very smart. So, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile...
That's a special tool that'll come in handy later.
Lots of times. Meanwhile... Sentinel really wants to just clap the cuffs on Optimus immediately, but luckily Ultra Magnus is not Sentinel Prime, and so he's like, look, Optimus, I want you to just, like, show us around, tell us, show us the sites of this conflict, and give us some evidence of the Allsparks dispersal. Luckily, they already downloaded some sweet Earth modes to ride around in, the Elite Guard did.
Yep.
And they ride out. They leave the rest of Optimus's crew with Jazz to hang out, just to chill. And they go out, and immediately Sentinel Prime goes out of his way to be the biggest piece of shit possible.
This will be a theme.
Sentinel Prime, I didn't know, I guess Sentinel Prime learned how to drive by downloading, like, Texas driver databanks. Scientifically proven to have the worst drivers of any state. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
There was a study done, and there were 100 data points measured, and we scored the worst in 100 out of 100 data points.
Let's go.
Yeehaw. But
that's because
Sari,
that's because you yearn for the horses.
Yeah. Sari, meanwhile, is trapped outside of this organic bubble, and there's some bad news. Porter C. Powell calls in and is like, hey, there's a fucking cop-bot assembly line that's going apeshit. I'm not going to do anything about it because I'm not the CEO, so you figure it out, kid. Bye.
Yeah, this is... Again, she's... Oh my god, this fucking guy. So... He's like, hey, we have an emergency doing it, and I think the line verbatim from Sari is, can't you handle it? And he responds with, well, it's not my name on the company, so...
Yeah, just the smuggest idiot. Oh my god.
Ol PCP.
That's right. So she carves her way through the force field using her Allspark key and sneaks aboard. Which
for
Jazz,
about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So one of the things is, one of the interesting things. So Jazz initially was pretty curious about learning more about these organics. He's like a cool guy. But Sentinel is like, no, you don't want to fuck with them. They're covered in weird fucking slime, and they'll make your armor boil off and give you fucking brain worms. Don't touch them. So he's all freaked out when she shows up in the fucking ship. But it doesn't take long for him to, like, chill once all the other Autobots go up to say hello to Sari.
Yeah, it's an interesting interpretation of Jazz, who, of course, in, like, the original version was supposed to be, like, this really, like, street savvy.
Yeah, he's
guy.
Always had, as a character, he's always had this fascination for human culture. That's sort of a baked in part of his character. Yeah,
but it's not just that. It's like a level of common sense, which he just, like, does not have here.
Yeah.
Where, like, Sentinels, like, look at them. They're going to spit acid onto you. And Jazz, like, looks at the humans and goes, yeah, that looks right.
I mean, like, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know fucking it. Like,
I know, but, like,
maybe they could.
He doesn't have the experience that Sentinel has. And, like, you can see that they're, like, they don't have acid spit just looking at them for the most,
What their neck starts swelling up and glowing green. You can't always see the dangerous parts.
But there's something that's almost like naive.
Yeah,
this version of Jazz, which is like interesting because so much of his character in his original form, and again, like this is really the first time we're seeing Jazz in in a TV series since G1.
Yeah. By the way, I quite like. I think this version of Jazz might be my favorite. He's like criminally underutilized, honestly, in television shows.
Yeah.
Like, for one of the big 84 G1 characters, he doesn't get a whole lot of TV time. There's
we've talked about this in the past about how a lot of like the G1 high command
just don't really recur.
Just like don't recur or recur very limitedly. Like,
yeah, like
this is really the only place where Prowl is.
Yeah, there hasn't, and like all of their recursions and like reuses are usually very different. Like Hound was a big character in the live action movies, but that guy ain't Hound from G1.
That's not Hound.
That the nature loving like hologram guy. No, he's the fucking
the fucking hippie.
Yeah, but so Sari convinces everyone to help out with the cop bot situation. And like Jazz is initially, hey, hang on, Magnus told me to like keep an eye on you guys, and I think it's Bumblebee who goes like, well, can't you do that in the field, like if you just come with us? And he goes like, yeah, all right.
Meanwhile, for reasons I still can't figure out, the three Sentinel, Magnus, and Optimus have visited Dinobots.
Well, because this is where Optimus' ship crashed after the battle. Because if you'll remember, they got it working again, but it got.
Clearly, I didn't.
Yeah, so once again, they don't really tell you that. They just say this is where Optimus has one line about this is where the ship crashed, and they never get there because Optimus is like, hey, watch out, there's some guys who hang out on this island who can be really aggressive. And Sentinel's like, what the fuck ever, man, how bad can it be? And then the Dinobots pop up and Grimlock nearly fucking kills them.
Which would have been really funny. However, here's a fun thing about this version of Ultra Magnus. He's Thor!
So, yeah, Ultra Magnus, I guess we haven't really talked that much. This is this version's of Ultra Magnus' first big appearance. He showed up very briefly in the first episode because they call him about Megatron's ship. But I mean, for like vocal performance wise, it's Jeff Bennett doing an impression of Robert Stack as G1 Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
And yeah, he is a big, tall, very no nonsense military commander. And yeah, in this universe, the badge of office of Autobot leadership is not the Matrix. It is a gargantuan lightning channeling hammer called the Magnus Hammer. Because much like Prime, in this universe, Magnus is a title. So his name is Ultra.
Yeah, what about it?
That's just his name.
Uh-huh.
Pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, so he scares the Dinobots off with a big flash of lightning. And, Sentinel tries to play it off. As usual. So the Autobots arrive at this factory, which at this point we've been shown the assembly line has a shard of the Allspark in it, which is why it is pumping out these supercharged, super aggressive police drones. Basically like an army of Ed 201s from RoboCop.
And what a nice world where there has to be a malfunction for that to happen, huh?
That's right.
Dun 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 dun. A cap.
So they're fighting these things, but like it's sort of an infinite flow, and they eventually start to get overwhelmed. They call in Optimus and gang for backup, though. So that arrives.
I do want to say that there is a point where Jazz just absolutely clowns on Prowl.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So,
which is all nice to see in any universe, even one where I like Prowl more than any other universe.
Because Jazz is also a cyber ninja, and unlike Prowl, he completed his training. Because like Prowl does like there's a cute reference where Jazz calls something Prowl does the 5 servos of doom technique, which is the name of an episode from G1. And the martial art they practice is like Metallico, which is
Metallicado.
Metallicado, which is a martial art from G1. So yeah, fun references. But yeah, Jazz, by the way, extremely cool, uses nunchucks that shoot out of his arm. This is the coolest version of Jazz.
That's a bold statement.
It's the coolest TV version of Jazz. How about that?
I mean, G1 Jazz is pretty cool.
He's
I'm not
pretty
gonna
cool,
lie.
but he doesn't have nunchucks. Like,
I don't know.
Plus on the G1 Jazz, he's voiced by Scatman Crothers. Plus on animated Jazz, he has nunchucks. And
I don't know, man. G1 Jazz is pretty freaking cool.
They are both the coolest guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest, Optimus and the others arrive. They sneak Sari in so she can turn it off, the assembly line off with her key. While the rest of them hold off the drones. Magnus, real quick, cleans them up after they turn it off. He just does a big AoE attack and destroys the rest of them.
Yeah, listen, when you're Thor, it's easy to do.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see why the Autobots won the war. You can just do that.
The bigger issue is that now that it is off, Sari cannot retrieve the key.
Yeah, it's stuck, and the control panel is glowing, and looks like it's about to explode. And of course, Sentinel Prime chooses this moment to go, "Hey Optimus, I'm gonna go ahead and arrest you right now. We found no evidence of this Allspark dispersal theory you have. There's no fucking Decepticons. I'm just gonna cuff you and drag you off." Or excuse me, he doesn't say Optimus Prime. He specifically says Optimus, which is why Optimus, Prime fucking
claps back.
Yeah, hey, listen, asshole, I'm a Prime too. We're the same rank, and you're on my home turf. This is like my neck of the woods, so you're gonna shut the fuck up and let me deal with this shit. And he slices and dices the control panel. Always
good to see Optimus clowning on Sentinel in any universe.
It's so good. There's a lot of that these two episodes.
I mean, in the next one in particular. This one he like took a lot before he snapped.
Yeah, because like for a lot of it, Ultra Magnus is there, and he respects Ultra Magnus. He does not respect Sentinel Prime in the least.
Yeah,
but like, you know, you gotta respect the Supreme Commander.
It's not a good name.
No,
that is like a red flag title.
I don't actually know if that. I don't actually remember if that's what his like title is. But yes, it is very military, isn't it?
And like not good military.
No,
if you know what I mean.
I mean, I guess the usual title for Decepticon leader is God Emperor of Destruction or something. So
yeah,
but that sounds cooler.
It's a little fashy.
I'm sure there are no problems with Cybertronian society that this show will explore later. All of that's probably fine.
Yeah, we're on Earth. Why would we explore Cybertron?
There's no deep rot at the center of it or anything like that, which may not take the form be personified in a sort of familiar cyclopean guy.
Astronaut looking at the Earth meme. Wait, so there's political underscoring to all of this? Always has been.
So they find the Allspark shard, which is enough proof for Magnus to like exonerate Optimus, because like, yeah, you were right, it did disperse. And I love that Sentinel immediately goes like, but he fucking sucks. And Ultra Magnus goes, actually, everything I've seen from him today is very impressive. He's cool, he's sexy, he's good at fighting, he's good at talking, and you suck. So how about you shut the fuck up, Sentinel?
And all's well that ends well. Well, we have just one last scene here.
Oh, shit. Sorry, can't get into her office. Why is that?
Ol PCP, again, beefing with this 9-year-old. Like, so seriously.
He's so excited to tell her this.
So Ol PCP calls up Sari and says, "Hi, you were voted out as CEO by the board. I was voted in. And there's nothing you can do about it because she's like, it's like, well, that doesn't matter because it's still my name on it." And he goes, "Well, here's the fun thing about that. I did a little bit of research, And I couldn't find any evidence that you're Sumdac's daughter because I couldn't find a birth certificate. I couldn't find a will. I couldn't find adoption papers. And you don't even have a social security number. And so she's like, wait, you mean there's like nothing that proves I'm my dad's daughter? And he just looks at her and goes, babe, there's nothing that proves you exist, period.
Yeah,
Bye!
In the eyes of the law, you literally don't exist. So that's fun. That's a fun thing for like a 9-year-old to hear.
And he's like, anyway, bye, and hangs up on her. And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, we just zoom in on her horrified face, and that's how that we end the episode.
Yeah, fucking who? The next episode, Return of the Headmaster. Let's go.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. He comes, Speed Racer.
So we open with this truly okay. Look, you can remove her from any sort of power in the company. This is egregious. Porter C. Powell is evicting her.
And he's gonna put like offices in her bedroom.
He's gonna turn it into an R&D department. Like, bro, come on.
And he's doing it for, again, just the worst guy you know.
Yeah, so number 1, you're getting kicked out. Number 2, I'm turning your bedroom into an office. Number 3, the guy whose office it is the worst dude. Also, I'm Sparkplug and Tutorbot are Sumdac properties, so you can't take them with you. Fuck you.
I also want to call right now. I have some real issues sometimes with PCP's very pink eyelids.
Well, cause he's got like pink glasses.
But you see them from the side.
Oh, he's always just smoking that weed.
I don't.
The glasses are to hide the pink tint.
I don't like it.
Something's going on. He's a very fashionable man.
Anyway,
but yeah, she gets kicked out and has to move in with the Autobots. And yeah, fucking Henry Masterson is in the elevator and is gonna move in, and he's like, sweet digs. Are you sure?
He does not say sweet digs. He says total cribbage.
Yeah, he sure does, doesn't he?
He does.
Really?
Because that was actually the point where I said I can't do another 30 minutes of this.
There's at least not that there's not as much of him in this episode as there was in the first one.
No, and his lines are actually less cringy. They're
way funnier because he's like always being fucking like owned pretty much. Oh my god, hang on. I have this episode muted in the background, which by the way, I found a playlist of 4K upscales of this that look very nice. And there is a frame when Powell kicks Sari out of her room and Masterson is like fucking yucking it up in there, where the elevator closes on her, and I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna put this in Soundwave files. I'm just gonna show you this sad, pathetic meow frame. Look at that. She looks
that
like a fucking.
She looks like fucking Puss in Boots.
She looks like a starving Dickensian orphan. Just her fucking Sari's misery is increasing. Meanwhile, someone somewhere had the grand idea of letting Sentinel Prime hold a press conference, which I don't think should be legal.
Well, to be fair to them, all the humans apparently had very different ideas of how this was going to go as well.
Yeah, so it's Fanzone, it's the mayor, and it's the mayor's secretary, and the secretary leans in and goes, "I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I thought this was going to be a quick photo op." When Sentinel Prime just like...
Yeah, this is into response of Sentinel Prime basically calling them single-celled organisms.
Yeah, he's like, we're happy to help out here in your fucking primitive shithole backwater planet. Like we're here to help you little wretches any way we can. It's he's sentineling all over the fucking press conference. You know him. You know what he's gonna say.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like, that's when the secretary's like, I thought this was gonna be, like, a very simple meet and greet kind of thing.
Optimus is trying so hard to keep things on track and to temper Sentinel's, like, assholishness, but Sentinel's like, hey, I am the representative of the Elite Guard. You're some fucking nobody repair bot scrub ass bitch. You need to shut your mouth and let me do the talking. Because he's a real charmer.
Always has been.
But I really like the detail of when he's chewing Optimus out, there's a bit where a bunch of people start taking pictures and he immediately goes into like crowd pleasing, waving, smiling mode. Very funny. He
sucks so much. I will say,
but Optimus immediately gets it back with, "Hey man, all right, I'll leave all the duties to you, including shaking the mayor's hand as a sign of respect."
I will say that at least in this episode, like, Masterson and Sentinel really do deserve each other. Match made in hell.
That's right. The worst guys you know matched against each other. And meanwhile, Sari is moving in with Bulkhead and Bumblebee, who are very excited to have their good friend hang out more. But the problem is that she's very sad. And they don't really know how to fix that.
So, over the course of this episode, Bumblebee and Bulkhead try their hands at several new careers and are bad at all of them.
Yeah.
The first is therapist.
They're bad, very bad. Under no circumstances should you allow either of these bots to hold a therapy session. They don't do very good there. They're like, oh, what cheers me up when I'm sad? And they put Sari on the big beanbag in front of Loud Music and Lights television show. My favorite show on Detroit TV.
They're doing some Cocomelon shit to her.
They are doing some Cocomelon shit to her, but it does not work. He's like, hey guys, I just kind of want to go hang out in my room.
And they're like, great news! We have your room all set up, it's ready to go. And she's like, oh, okay, great. And then she goes over, and it's just another room with an even louder, bigger TV blasting in it.
Masterson, meanwhile, is ready to get to work on the exciting new militant direction that Powell is planning on taking the company. But he's like, I need a new test subject for the Headmaster. I'm not going to use those old stanky Autobots. I want the new shit. I want the fancy new guys. And he immediately sets his sights on Sentinel Prime because he's the only one there. I mean, I would think, you know, Ultra Magnus is too busy to do this press conference, which is why Sentinel was doing it. So, you know, it's probably good that he wasn't around. That would have been pretty bad. But so we get Headmaster calls in a fake, like, Decepticon report to lure the Autobots out there. Once again, Sentinel proves to be the worst driver in the galaxy.
Again, he by no means do you have to give it to Masterson, but pretty good seeing Sentinel go down like this.
So yeah, immediately Optimus is like, hey, we can, you know, we can kind of search the area together, but I love this. There's an extremely good moment here where, so like, they get into an argument and Sentinel tells them to fuck off by going like, yeah, why don't you go patrol the on that side, Maintenance Prime, and I'll call you if I need some fucking trash disposed of. And he drives off, and Optimus storms off, and like halfway down the street he goes, yeah, why do I call you fucking shitty asshole gasbag Prime? That would have been good, yeah. And then, so that shot is during the day. It cuts to night, and Sentinel is still going like, oh man, Maintenance Prime, I got his ass. Ooh. I killed him.
Listen, this man has held a grudge for hundreds of years. He's going to gloat for at least several hours.
It's so funny. And by the way, he's wearing his extremely cool night helmet visor that he sometimes deploys, which I think looks sick. It's just so funny that it's attached to like the lamest, most annoying guy.
Yeah.
Because like his whole deal is very like knight-ish, right? Because he's got the shield, he's got the lance. His general, like, sort of design is very gallantly heroic. Which, you know, that's the joke, right? It's like Gaston, where it's like you design this cool, big-jawed, like, I would say square-jawed, but in this case, it's like oval-jawed hero. And it's like, actually, he sucks shit. He's the worst guy.
Square job, but escaping its boundaries.
Yeah, sort of getting so big that it sort of folds in on itself. And he gets headmastered. You know how it is. After trying to kill a cat because he got cat jump scared.
He doesn't discriminate against organic creatures. He hates them all equally.
And this is where the fun begins, because he calls Optimus like, hey, no Decepticons, good news, but I need you to come to my position, and also I need you to not laugh. And Optimus goes, what? Why? You just come over here. And Optimus fails that request.
Yeah, you can't laugh. Well,
I love David Kay's performance as Optimus. I think he's great, but this laugh is so fucking funny. Like, he does not even try to hold it back. He just immediately starts fucking losing it when he sees Sentinel Prime's disembodied head sitting in a pile of garbage.
There is, again, something that is, like, immature and, like, petty about this Optimus in a way that, like, none of the other Optimi are.
He's still a young gun.
Yeah,
still,
which is
like,
very enjoyable.
Yeah, and plus, it's the truth of the world is that if something shitty happens to a guy who sucks, you should laugh at it. It's not bad to laugh at it.
Schadenfreude is really fun.
It's powerful.
As long as it's not happening to, like, good people.
Exactly.
And as long as it's, like, pretty low stakes.
So, like, Sentinel's like, okay, we cannot, under no circumstances, can we fucking show me to Ultra Magnus in this state. He cannot know. He's gonna fucking demote me to the mailroom immediately if he sees me like this. So we gotta do this on our own. We gotta find the guy who took my body and like handle it all on our own. Quick cutaway of Bumblebee and Bulkhead trying to figure out what human food is. Doesn't work.
Yeah, so they try being chef's next. Also very bad at that.
No, they just serve her garbage functionally.
Not just functionally, like literal garbage. Like they.
Hang on, I've got
fish
the
carcass.
I've got the spread. I've got the delicious spread. Okay, the main course is a fish head with bones.
Yeah.
Then there is a plate of acorns, several small tanks of oil.
The acorns are at least technically edible.
And my personal favorite part, a live rabbit.
Yeah.
That's just chilling there.
Again, also, I guess, technically edible.
Yeah, you need a few extra steps first, though.
Yeah.
So, they don't have the snackage, and both of them are like, well, gee, what am I supposed to do? She's not cheering up. So, by this point, everyone knows that the Headmaster is back at Sumdac Systems. So, Optimus goes into the lobby, and Porter C. Powell immediately like, this is private property. You cannot freely roam around here. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, or I will call security. Henry, I have never heard of Henry Masterson. I don't know who that man is.
Yeah, and also you have to leave immediately. Goodbye.
Yeah, you need to leave right now. And Optimus leaves, but it was a trick because he taps into the phone that Porter C. Powell immediately pulls out to call Masterson as soon as Optimus is out of the building. He's like, hey, Optimus was here asking about you.
He's like, man, I trusted you, which was a mistake on my part, but, like, do not fuck this up for me, okay? Like, we have a public image to protect, and if that's my goal, not quite sure why I hired you, but
yeah,
I swear to God, if you get me in any, like, PR trouble, it's so fucking over.
Henry Masterson is not exactly a subtle guy.
He's Elon Musk.
He is like, no, because he actually invents things.
Yeah, but
the Headmaster unit does work.
I guess. It's like, we don't have any evidence that it's not, like, stolen from someone else, though.
That's true. I guess we don't.
And he's half as smart as he thinks he is. And he's infinitesimally as cool as he thinks he is.
He's having more fun than Elon Musk.
I mean, everyone is.
I the small comfort to know that man is probably the most miserable man on the planet.
Certainly up there.
He's up there. Anyway,
money can't buy happiness, folks.
That's right. Especially if you care a lot about what people think about you. And what people think about you is not good. So he's on a boat with Sentinel's body. So Optimus and Sentinel's disembodied head go to check it out.
It finds them first.
Yeah, so not only does he have the Headmaster thing, he has also hacked Sparkplug and Tutorbot and turned them into weapons.
Oh wait, can I say one thing really quick actually that we forgot to mention but is really important to me?
Yes.
So when Masterson calls in like the fake crime, he calls it into Fan Zone. And Fanso says, like, basically he's like, understood, we'll take it from here, ma'am. And he goes, I'm not a ma'am, trans Masterson real.
That's right. And yeah, it's so like later everybody's getting arrested, like, listen up, law boy. Number 1, I am not a ma'am. Number 2.
I'm not a woman. I'm not a ma'am. Right, exactly, yeah. It's, do I look like a ma'am to you? Sir.
And... So yeah, they're fighting, and, Optimus is having a good time kind of tossing Sentinel's head around, and they go into the boat to look for Sentinel's body. And they do find it, or it finds them. And yeah, Optimus has a lot of fun just giving it to Sentinel's body, just fucking going to town.
That's what she said.
And Sentinel's like, hey, dude, can you fucking chill? I can feel all of this. It's like, Optimus is like, yeah, I know. He's literally, like, doing boxer shit of, like, just slamming punches into Sentinel's solar plexus.
It's very cathartic.
It's super cathartic. He rips Sentinel's arm off.
Yeah, Sentinel's like, you ripped my arm off. And Optimus is like, it was aiming for my eyes.
Yeah, it was gonna stab me with your big dumb shield thing. So then he cuts the Headmaster unit off with the shield. And of course we know that the Headmaster can escape. But luckily,
it's really
Optimus...
Sorry, can I just say, upon rewatching this, really unsubtly a rip on MODOK.
Oh yeah, like especially
MODOK,
when
however you pronounce it.
I think there's later bits where I think the Headmaster can also like free fly. So like, yeah, it's like totally MODOK. And, but yeah, luckily, Optimus has been practicing his fucking soccer moves and kicks Sentinel's head straight into the unit, which apparently, much like a turtle, cannot get up if you knock it over on its back.
Now here's how you know that no one has put truck nuts on Optimus. Because if he had any balls, he would have just squished Masterson like a bug at this point. Which it looks like he's about to do.
Yeah, he's just too nice. Magnus would have done it. Magnus would have just been like, he's too, this technology is dangerous. This time you cannot be allowed to, you cannot be suffered to live.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the base, it's... Oh, wait, before we cut back to Sari and Bulkhead and Bumblebee, there's the bit, they're arresting Masterson, but Porter C. Powell shows up, and he gives the rundown of like, alright, so, number 1, this incident took place in international waters, so you're out of your jurisdiction, Fan Zone, and I would like to have my employee back, please, and so he does not get arrested.
Honestly, the fact that, like, PCP didn't just, like, totally abandon Masterson at this point is pretty shocking.
He's got the sauce. He needs those weird. I mean, we saw him turn a fucking school bot into a weapon, so like he's pretty good at it, I guess. Good enough that Powell will suffer through the everything else.
The literally everything else. Yeah.
It's like the whole package of like nightmares. Then we cut back to Autobot base where, the Prowl just straight up tells Bumblebee and Bulkhead, okay, listen, I've been watching you. I wanted to let you guys try to figure it out. I wanted to let you guys attempt to like use your emotional intelligence, but clearly this is not working. She just needs someone to fucking talk to. Just go in there and talk to her.
Yeah, what's wrong with you people?
Please stop blasting her with Cocomelon shit and just listen.
She's being haunted by the Cocomelon.
So they go in and talk to her, and Sari starts crying and talking about how she's like fucking lost everything and that she doesn't even really exist and has no idea where her dad is or if he's even alive. Like, it's just truly the worst time a 9-year-old can be having. It
was actually like nicely.
Yeah, it's a cute moment because
it was like nicely written because it felt very genuine.
Yeah, like it did not feel, sometimes Sari can be a bit on the precocious side of like human sidekicks, but this was a nice moment, and Bumblebee and Bulkhead both go like, hey, listen, all right, well, we're here if you need to talk. And we also get Ultramagnet. We final scene, we get the report back to Ultramagnet. It's like, hey, Sentinel, I heard rumors about you losing your head or something. What the fuck is up with that? But because Optimus is the bigger bot, he steps up and he's like, hey, Commander, it's all right. Sentinel was valiantly putting himself in the line of harm to draw out a dangerous criminal to apprehend, and so without him we wouldn't have caught the Headmaster, although he wriggled out of our clutches.
Yep. And is that basically it?
Sentinel gives Optimus the world's most begrudging handshake and thank you.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, and Optimus is like, wow, that must have hurt. And Sentinel's like, you've no idea.
You have no fucking idea, man. It's like...
And then they shake, yeah. And they shake.
He's gonna be molding about this for fucking 500 years. Yeah, that is Return of the the Headmaster.
We are so fucking back. What can I say? We are so fucking back.
I am really looking forward to this season of Transformers Animated. I mean, God, next week we get fucking Wreck-Gar.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, we've got so much fun stuff in this season. And then a whole lot of crazy shit happens at the end again.
Well,
But way crazier shit than last time, even. But Yeah, before we get to any of that, we got a few questions. We got one on Twitter from @whatiscosplay. Cass, if you were to choose a musician to become the go-to voice or voice style of a Transformer without thinking about budget, who would you hire to voice who? As I mentioned, the perfect answer already exists within this show, and it is Weird Al as Wreck-Gar, so we'll have to choose a different one.
It's so funny, because I was about to say Dee Snider as Wreck-Gar.
God.
Because now I just was thinking about Wreck-Gar, but I think Dee Snider would do a great job with that.
I feel like
it would literally just be the Duke of Detroit from Motor City.
Yeah, like it needs to be I want to choose like a musically inclined character, right? Like Blaster or something, or even jazz. God, I have forgotten all musicians. They've just fled my mind.
Sorry, Ariana Grande, RC. Yeah. Let's go.
I love that fucking TikTok so much.
Yeah.
One of the best things.
Whenever my friends and I are out and it's time for us, like if anyone says let's go, it'll either be echoed with let's go or just yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Ariana Grande RC is pretty good. Would you like to take us through our
Sure. Yeah.
Questionos?
It would be my pleasure. Okay. Our first one, from Nero from Disney Minus. How would you go about making second connect with a bunch of aliens on a planet that your ex-son, co-worker, and ex/son/ your co-worker and boss's ex/son?
Sorry, I had to untangle my brain from the spaghetti that question tied
Yeah.
in. I mean, I would say that you get a pretty clear Goofus and Gallon example in this episode, and Sentinel Prime is the Goofus, so you probably just should do everything that he doesn't do, and you'll be good. Just don't be Sentinel Prime, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just general advice for life, ultimately.
Yeah, don't... If you see Sentinel Prime do something, do the opposite of it.
That's right.
And then also from VR, is the reason every ninja in this show is also a cop because they knew they had to give a reason for people to like the cop Transformers that worked with Optimus. Unfortunately, I think the guys who made this show genuinely like cops. Yeah. This is a very pro-cop show. I think unfortunately...
I don't know if it's necessarily, it's like uncritical of them, right? It's just like, it's like one of the, it's from, the era this is from is just like, yeah, sure, cops. They're the good guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think unfortunately it's just like sort of unironic admiration for them.
Although Fan Zone being the main human cop and being sort of a dipshit and like, but often the butt of the joke is
I would
like
say in general there's disdain for the human characters.
Yes, very true. The humans in this show are not always the most upstanding of guys.
I was gonna say, like, Sumdac and Sari are the exception, but they don't really count, do they?
I mean, Isaac Sumdac, look, nobody in history has fucked up as bad as Isaac Sumdac, really. Like, he saved saved Megatron's life.
Certainly not in this timeline.
Yeah, bro.
From Ruby Road Rage, parentheses Ruby. On a scale from 1 to 10, how asshole American on foreign roads is Sentinel Prime?
12. Like I said, he's a Texas driver.
He's a Texas driver in Finland.
He literally crushes a line of parked cars in Return of the Headmaster by just driving over them.
Yeah. And
because, I mean, it's worth noting that, like, so his alternate mode is like a snowplow because he can just fucking push everyone out of his way. I think it's a very characterful alternate mode choice. I quite like it.
A Bridge to Cass asks, does Henry Masterson's vocal quirk get funnier or cringier the further we get from 2007? First of all, I really like the phrasing of this because I could see the typing quirk wanting to be written here, so I appreciate acting like he's a Homestuck character. This is hard to call for me. It sucks the whole way down.
Yeah. It's hard to, like, put myself, like, I think he's still pretty funny, but a lot of that does come from how outdated this was even at the time.
Yeah.
There's a bit where he's like, oh, damn, I'm so leet. And Optimus goes, I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I think my actual answer to this is that it doesn't change. It just kind of sucks to hear.
Yeah. I mean, if we were transplanting this type of guy into the modern age, he would be a fucking Bitcoin dude talking about how everything's going to the moon and shit.
He'd be a Bitcoin dude in like 5 years.
Yeah, like
that's still too recent for how dated his language is supposed to be already in 2007.
That's true. He is old style Bitcoin dude. You know, it's just, you know, it's the same.
Yeah. What's your favorite type of bridge? Suspension.
I like a nice covered bridge. The ones in like New England.
I really like swaying suspension bridges that you can walk across. They're fun for me.
I've never actually been on a real suspension bridge. I don't
Oh,
think.
really? I mean, if you're not a fan of heights, they are not a good time. But
I'm fine with heights.
yeah, if you're good with heights, then they're fun. And finally, from a bridge to Cass, did these guys start flying when they got Prime's message 50 years ago? Does the journey from Cybertron just take ages? What's the longest journey you've been on, and how did you occupy yourself?
So first, in order, the question is number 1, yes. Number 2, yeah.
I mean, depending
the other thing is,
on your relative.
yeah, they also have to like figure out where the fuck they are because Earth is sort of out of the way. So like that probably ate up most of the time because there's no space bridge routes out there. The way that Prime's crew got to Earth was like a Allspark induced event where the Allsparks specifically put them somewhere really out of the way to avoid detection. As for I think the longest, I've been on quite a few long drives. I think the longest, I drove to Vegas one time with a bunch of friends for Evo a couple years ago, and that was like a 12-hour drive maybe. It was, it's pretty long, but I had 2 other friends in the car, so entertaining myself wasn't necessarily a huge problem. I've also driven to Chicago a few times, or been driven to Chicago a few times, and that one is I think that's a 16-hour drive, maybe shorter. I don't remember the exact things, but I remember one time on the way back from Chicago, I watched the first Street Fighter V Evo Top 8 because I have an unlimited data plan.
So the longest trip I've been on without like pause is the 16-hour flight from New York to Johannesburg and back.
Oh god, that is see. So I like long road trips for the most part. As a heftier fellow,
yeah,
I do not like long flights. Those are not good to me.
No one likes long flights. I mean, this is obviously the being fat does not make it easier. But there is a point I've done.
I'm both fat and tall, so I am doubly fucked.
Yeah. Being large in general on a plane, however you do it, not great. Like, it's just not a fun time. And there is something about hitting the 12-hour mark on a plane where it's like, I live here now. I was born on this plane. I'm going to die on this plane. Mm-hmm. This is my alpha and my omega. And I've done that now, I think 10 times. No, 12 times. South Africa, China, Vietnam, Australia, New Zealand, and whatever. Whatever. The point is I've done it a few times, and it's just like, it sucks. But the longest one was definitely the nonstop from New York to Johannesburg, which in that direction is 16 and a half hours long. It's one of the longest flights in the world. And it was just like a lot of free movies. Like a lot of free movies on that flight. We got like 4 meals. It was ridiculous.
16 hours is a long time to be in the fucking
It's a long ass flight. I mean, it's worth it. You should go to South Africa if you had the chance. It's a really fascinating place, but damn, dude.
brutal flight time.
Yeah. Okay, from Slipstream Sam Reel. What's the earliest memory you have of existential dread? It first hit me right after I went to a planetarium at like 8 years old and realized how big space is.
I do definitely remember experiencing existential dread at a planetarium when they showed a gamma ray burst blowing up Earth. That shit could just happen, okay.
I think for me, this is like maybe a more serious answer and not like quite in the same vein as what you're asking for. So sorry if that's the case. But for me, it was like middle school when I was like first diagnosed with like ADD and also like suicidal depression or whatever, where it's just like I just couldn't see a future for myself at all. And so my existential dread was much less about like my scope in like a broader scheme thing and just like I don't see any way that I'm living past like 20.
I definitely remember when I was very much into dinosaurs as a child, and you read about big dead things when you're young. It doesn't necessarily hit right, like you don't really.
Yeah.
At some point, I absorbed what death meant, and I do remember freaking the fuck out for like 2 hours when I was with my mom at her school after hours. She used to be a speech pathologist, and she brought me along to her school. I was like 8 or something, probably younger actually, and I could not handle it. Similar things also to when I first heard the thing of, the sun will expand in like 4 billion years and destroy the Earth. Just sort of the big weights kind of crashing down on a little child and just like completely fucking panicking and flipping out for like 2 hours. And you learn to just bottle it all up and find your peace.
Yeah. I mean, you either deal with it or you don't, basically, right?
Yep.
So, and then from a Bridge to Cast, there is a photo here of a bug.
Ladybug?
That has a cross on it, I think.
Oh, it's a paladin bug.
What you think about this? I assume it's supposed to look like Sentinel's shield, maybe? I don't know. I don't have strong opinions on this.
I think that I'm happy that the bug is out there living its best life. At least I assume it is. I don't know.
All right. From Sidewinder, Sabrina. Oh no! All the Transformers have lost their bodies a la Headmaster, and their lower bodies are gone. What replacement body would you give each of the Anaformers, and who would you leave headless? The replacement can be any form of machinery from any series / real life, from other Transformers to Metal Gears to fucking Battletech mechs. Your possibilities are vast.
Sentinel Prime is getting attached to one of those old iPod docks that was like a dancing dog.
Excellent.
I mean, so who would I leave headless is an interesting question, because I mean that just basically means they're just inert.
Bumblebee.
I don't hate him that much.
Okay, I'm gonna be real. Most of what I'm thinking about in these situations is like a Sarah Jessica Parker Chihuahua situation from Mars Attack.
Yeah. Definitely like plopping their heads onto some dumb shit. I think that just generally, I think there should be more object head Transformers. There aren't enough of those. But put some TVs on those dudes' shoulders. But yeah, also I think a lot of it is like, do you have an annoying guy? Put him on a dog. There you go. Does someone's disembodied head get put onto Sparkplug's body at some point? I cannot remember if that happened or not, but it should. I think it would be funny. Can we put Bumblebee's head on the CGI NFL football robot from the commercials? I don't know why. I just think he would have fun. It would be enriching for him. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have many funny answers for this, unfortunately, just because again I'm so stuck on the Mars Attack.
Sentinel Prime in the Chihuahua situation is the one answer. That is what should happen.
The which answer?
Sentinel Prime in the Chihuahua situation.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, Sentinel, the ship with your body sunk. It's too deep for us to recover. You'll have to be on this robot dog forever. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, from Aurora Animated, who's a character from a previous series you covered that you just want to see again? I miss
Thrust.
Thrust?
I miss him so much.
I mean, I've said this several times before. I want to see Ironhide again. I think Ironhide has just been underutilized. For reasons I
want-
really can't understand.
I want crusty Southern Ironhide. I need the fucking like grizzled Southern one. You know, I don't need anything that takes off of the sort of Clint Eastwoody live action version. But yeah, there's been like no Ironhides in TV forever. He was supposed to be in this show, but that fourth season never happened. Or he was originally supposed to be in this show, and but Bulkhead was put in his place instead.
Right.
And he was going to show up in the fourth season, but he never did because Cartoon Network is cruel. Yeah, I miss Ironhide. I mean, I would say I miss Jazz, but he actually showed up.
And then the other character, I guess I will say outside of Ironhide, because I always say Ironhide for this, is Knockout.
Yeah.
Since being brought back in Prime, I really liked the character they developed for him. They liked it as well, since they put it into comics and everything multiple times. I'd like to see him in a show again.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with a character like that. Yeah, I mean, Thrust is almost a half-joking answer, but I do like a treacherous Vizier. And that's like a different thing than Starscream is, you know? Like, he's most of the time not necessarily that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more
A Vizier
open
has to
hostility.
actually give advice.
Yeah, like, all of Thrust's weird fucking prophecies of like, Megatron, the fucking stars are aligning. Surely this means you will win the day. I miss that shit. I also miss that he's a weird squid man.
Yeah.
Truly one of the strangest character designs of any Transformer. Like, just a fucking freak of nature, and I miss him.
Yeah. And that's a lot of questions.
Oh, and Rat Trap. I could always use more Rat Trap.
Oh, yeah. Rat Trap. Rat Trap's great. But we do at least get Rat Trap for another show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's it for Questorinos, and that's it for the episode. Of course, you can find us on Twitter for as long as that platform exists at Prime Cuts Pod. You can join our Discord. And if you join it now, you don't have to worry about watching the most boring Transformers movie.
Told you it was fucking bad.
Oh my god. Okay. So here's the thing with the last night. I mean, speaking of Headmasters, we did have a running joke when we were watching that of how Cogman being a headmaster just means he's really good at giving Anthony Hopkins the tornado sloppy.
Oh,
which is
good.
true. But holy shit, that movie is fucking boring.
It's not good. Like, it's not a good movie.
I think that I think that it is the worst constructed movie. It is the worst one just from like a script standpoint.
Yes.
And like a thing. Like, I think that Revenge of the Fallen is still a worse viewing experience because it's just a fucking insane, horrible film. But like, at least it makes more sense and like has more stuff going on.
The last night I was like, that was actually like an infuriating viewing experience. I was like, I can't believe I paid money to do this.
I'll tell you what I was infuriated by. The fact that the fucking aspect ratio kept goddamn changing between shots. It was driving me insane. When I was like, what? Why is this editing making my fucking eyes hurt? I was like, oh. I finally noticed. I was like, wait a fucking minute. The aspect ratio is literally changing between shots.
It's the cinnamon topography.
For no reason. I remember something about how that movie was shipped out to like 3 or 4 different editing houses to just chop into a fucking final product. Like, no one gave a shit about The Last Night. God fucking literally the only fun parts of that movie are Anthony Hopkins and his gay robot butler. That's it.
Again, I can't believe they got him to do it in the first place.
It's, Grandpa just having fun.
Collecting that cheddar.
But yeah, you don't have to watch that. Next time we'll be watching Bumblebee, which is a good movie. So if you want to get in after we finish this season of animated and watch a good movie for a change, you should join the Discord.
Yes, next time will be Bumblebee for sure. I was about to say presumably next time will be Bumblebee, but that's not.
Unless there's a secret Transformers movie I don't know about.
No, there was something we were going to watch between specific season, but we're not there yet by
That's
any
true.
means.
We are not. We are definitely not there yet. I'm Nero. You can find me on Twitter at Dragon Smitron, co-host at Dragon Snuggler. On Blue Sky at what is my Nero Wyvern. I haven't posted much there yet, but I'm on there now. And on Tumblr at tumblr.com. How do Tumblr URLs work? It's Cyclonus with a 5 at the end of it. You can find my various other projects in various other places, such as Radio Free Heidelin, the monthly Final Fantasy XIV podcast I do with my friend Jane at Heidelin Radio on Twitter, radiofreeheidelin.tumblr.com. Also Talk Cycles, the monthly animation podcast I do with Jane, talkcycles.tumblr.com. You can and we're doing Over the Garden Wall for October.
How appropriate.
Usually we run a poll for the subject matter of the show, but it's October. It has to be Over the Garden Wall. And yeah, you can join our Discord for that as well. And yeah, that's it for me.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, co-host, and Blue Sky at Optimum on Prime, my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do called Pod of Greed. It's about 5Ds. I was on for the first time in a while last week. I won't be on for another couple weeks because I was out of the country and also some other stuff. But it's good. And 5Ds is also good. Good show. You give it a listen. I've also been casting a radio drama that should be having updates coming out very soon. And I'm starting a foodie podcast over on the Moonshot Network called I'm Eatin' Here. And that's it for me.
Of course, we are a part of the Noise Space Network, noisespace.xyz, with all sorts of other shows you can watch, such as the aforementioned Pot of Greed, Dr. Ha, Jacob and Lilith's House of Snacks, Sounds About Light. Just anything you think you want to listen to a podcast about is probably up there somewhere.
Yeah. And I think that's basically it for us.
So until next time, I am going to drive like Sentinel Prime, merge across 9 lanes of traffic, driving my Ford F-50, murdering 75 pedestrians in the process, and stopping in the drive-thru Chicken Express, transform and roll out.
I'm going to open up every social media account I have and find a 9-year-old to start beefing with immediately and just ruin their days. Transform and roll out.
Peach.
Peach.